Welcome. My name is Dimitri Salita, head of Salita Promotions, and I'm honored to bring to you the first super fight in women's boxing history, featuring two-time Olympic gold medalist and two-division world champion Claressa Shields, featuring fighting against the long-time reigning and defending world champion Christina Hammer of Germany. This fight is going to be televised live on Showtime and come to you from the legendary Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. A lot of questions around this fight. Is it going to be like Leonard Hearns, a classic, where the Olympic gold medalist broke down the longtime pro? Or is it going to be like Mosley versus De La Hoya, where the experienced pro handed the Olympic gold medalist their first defeat? The boxing world is split, and this is why this is such an exciting fight, where two of these fighters, both in their peaks, are coming together to unify the four belts. Again, this fight is going to be televised live on Showtime on Saturday, April 13th, and it's going to take place from the legendary, iconic Boardwalk Hall. And we're very honored to have this great venue as our host. And I'd like to invite the general manager, Mr. Jim Wincoop, to say a few words on Boardwalk and the fight.
Well, thank you. I know you didn't come to hear me talk, so I will keep this pretty short. I do appreciate the fact that Spectre Venue Management, the company I work for, has given me the privilege of managing Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall, and I couldn't tell you how excited we are to have this great fight coming back, or coming to Atlantic City and coming to Boardwalk Hall, which will be our first unification fight, our first championship fight in probably 4 or 5 years. So we're very excited about that. I would like to just thank the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority for their support and partnership in helping make this happen. And I would like to thank Spectre Venue Management and Spectre Food Services and all the people who go into making our building as successful as it is. Obviously, there's a huge history of boxing in Atlantic City, a huge history of boxing at Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall, and we look forward to writing another chapter come April 13th. So thank you very much.
This fight would not happen without the support of the #1 network in boxing, Showtime, and I'm personally very grateful to Mr. Gordon Hall and Mr. Steven Espinoza for taking the leap of faith and believing in initially Claressa Shields and then believing in Christina Hammer and taking all the necessary steps to build this super fight. I'd like to invite Mr. Steven Espinoza from Showtime to talk about this fight.
Let's start off by getting one thing straight here. This isn't just an important women's fight. This isn't a high-quality women's boxing match. This is a high-quality boxing match. This is an important fight. So certainly we have two very skilled women. We're not going to ignore that fact. But this is one of the best fights that can be made in the sport. 2 pound-for-pound boxers, 2 elite skilled boxers, the best fighting the best. If you're not interested in this fight, then candidly, you're not a boxing fan. This is as good as this sport gets. Now, having said that, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that these kinds of opportunities are long overdue. Unfortunately, the US market is behind much of the rest of the world. You see in Mexico and Latin America, you see women boxers headlining televised cards all the time. In fact, some of the highest ratings on Mexican television come from women's bouts. The same is true for Europe. So this is one area where the US market, unfortunately, is behind much of the rest of the world. We at Showtime are doing our part and have been doing our part to try and change that. Not just in boxing, but we've got a long history in women's MMA as well. So names like Layla Ali and Christy Martin, Ronda Rousey, Misha Tate, Gina Carano, Chris Cyborg. Those are all names that made their debuts that became familiar to the audience on Showtime. And this has been a long-time commitment. You know, the first nationally televised women's MMA event was on Showtime. The first nationally televised women's main event was on Showtime. The first women's boxing match that was nationally televised in the US was on Showtime. The first women's main event boxing bout, was also on Showtime, and that obviously was Claressa just a couple short years ago. So here on the stage, and I will give them the stage very shortly because you've heard enough from me, you've got two of the most elite athletes in the sport, not two of the elite women fighters of the sport, two of the elite athletes within this sport. Two-time gold medalist, the only American to do that, and a two-belt world champion versus a longtime middleweight champion who has dominated this division for nearly a decade. This is, yet again, as I state, one of the best fights that can be made in the sport. Of course, we will be supporting this, not just with a stream like this, but with all of the things that come with high-level fights on Showtime. That includes an all-access series, 2 episodes. They'll be premiering March 29th and April 5th, and we know it will be an interesting ride along the way. We will see you on April 13th.
Thank you, Stephen. Now we'll hear from the championship teams. I'd like to introduce Mr. Tom Loeffler, who has been serving as the advisor for Christina Hammer. Tom.
Thank you, Dimitri. I got to give a lot of credit to everyone sitting up here. You know, without the fighters wanting this fight, events like this wouldn't happen. Naturally, Stephen Espinoza at Showtime for his support. They've done a tremendous job building Claressa Shields through her rocket ship career with, you know, 2-division world champion right now, building on the Olympic career, and Christina Hammer, you know, wanting this challenge, wanting to show that she's the best middleweight champion in the world. These 2 women here can show a lot of male boxers prove an example, because it's very rare to see 2 undefeated world champions in their prime fighting each other, risking everything to fight each other and to really show who's the best of that champion of that division. So, you know, Boardwalk Hall, appreciate, you know, want to acknowledge them. Dimitri did a tremendous job putting this fight together. It's going to be a fun promotion. This is one of those fights that's really going to be, in my opinion, it's a pick'em fight. You have Claressa coming forward, and like I said, you know, just her style, her tenacity, punching power against Christina's experience. So this is one that I'm looking forward to seeing. It's for all the marbles, all the titles, even the Ring Magazine title. This is a historic event where Ring Magazine, for the very first time, because of the competitive nature of this fight, is going to sanction this as a middleweight world Ring Magazine middleweight world champion. So it's not only all these titles, but another Ring Magazine title. So we want to thank everyone for coming out. Christina had a tremendous time here in New York. She went to the Knicks game. It was the first time they won. I think it was an 18-game home losing streak, and she won, and they beat the San Antonio Spurs on Sunday night. So appreciate everyone's hospitality, and looking forward to April 13th on Showtime in Atlantic City. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. The man I'd like to introduce next really needs no introduction in the boxing community. He's been involved with most of the major fights over the last 25 years, overseeing them in every capacity. And he is the current manager of Claressa Shields. But more than that, he really has dedicated himself to raising women's boxing to the next level, and has done it through Claressa and behind the scenes. It gives me great honor to introduce Mr. Mark Taffet.
Thank you very much, Dimitri. And It's a real pleasure and an honor to look out and see a room filled with all of you, so many of our friends who have been a part of this journey, so many people I know through my 25 years working in boxing, the media support, which is outstanding, and a number of other organizations that are here today that I want to acknowledge. It's a very, very special time. First, let me take care of some of the very important acknowledgments for some folks who came a long way and moved a lot of things off their schedule to get here today. I want to thank Mr. Jim Wincoop from Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall. Jim, usually these deals historically have been done with hotels, not straight with Boardwalk Hall and the venue. We know it's a very important event for Boardwalk Hall. We're very proud that you deemed this event worthy of putting your name on it and having a direct relationship with the event. We guarantee you that we will deliver for you. We're proud to be here. My very first fight many, many years ago, TVKO in 1991, was Holyfield Foreman at Trump Plaza in Atlantic City. And I have to say, this fight is probably the next and maybe the most significant fight in my career because of all it stands for and will stand for in history. So to be back in New Jersey at Boardwalk Hall, Jim, we can't thank you enough for your support. And we're going to make you feel real good about being with us this time, and we hope to be with you many more times in the future. I also want to acknowledge Mr. Peter Chacon, who told me I could call him Peter Chacon. I asked him how his mother pronounces it. He said Chacon. So it's Mr. Peter Chacon as far as I'm concerned. Peter is the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing of Ocean Resort and Casino. Ocean will be home base for us during fight week. We'll have our press conferences, our weigh-ins, fighter meetings, and other functions there, fighter workouts that week. It's a beautiful, beautiful property. Again, to be at such a beautiful property for an event of this magnitude, to be at an historic venue like Boardwalk Hall says a lot about what this event stands for. Everything's first class and everything's going to support history. So, Peter, where are you? Right over here. Thank you very much, and please give Peter a round of applause. Right behind Peter, Ms. Joy Hazen. Joy, Managing Director of Anita International. I met Joy because of the sponsorship deal that she has on a personal level with Christina Hammer. And I promised Joy that if she got involved with the women's boxing events, we would make her proud and deliver the value that she needs for her company and her products to get their exposure. We are thrilled to have Joy and Anita and a very, very exciting team here with us. And again, thanks for being with us for this event and for every event we do going forward. Thank you. Another big supporter of women's boxing, women's sports, and Claressa Shields. Very, very important. Olga Harvey and her team from the Women's Sports Foundation. Olga is the Senior Director of Leadership Services. That organization stands for everything Billie Jean King stands for. Claressa was their Sportswoman of the Year a few years ago and has been nominated a few times since then. Olga, we couldn't be prouder to have your organization here for all the great work you do and for everything you and your folks stand for and for how important you've been in Claressa's career so far. So thank you very much to the Women's Sports Foundation. Lastly, Claressa this week was appointed to the board of directors of a beautiful charitable organization called Gen Youth. Gen Youth is a partnership of the National Dairy Council and the NFL, two organizations that when they get behind something, they get behind it in a big way. Gen Youth empowers students to create healthy, high-achieving life through the activation of programs that create healthy students, active students, and they work with schools nationwide, including the largest in-school wellness program in the country. It's called Fuel Up to Play 60. Because of Fuel Up to Play 60, more than 18 million students across America are more physically active and eating healthier than they ever have before. I'm proud to announce today that Claressa Shields has joined the board of directors of Gen Youth, and we have some Gen Youth executives, Gretel Chuang and Kayla White, with us here today. Ladies, thank you very much, and we thank you, Claressa. We have with us today, over here, a young woman, Janine Rotolo. Janine is a 7th grade special education teacher and the co-advisor of the Fuel Up to Play 60 program in Brentwood, New York. Janine has been teaching 20 years in the Brentwood School District. As a program advisor, she's implemented many programs in the school that improve family fitness. She's done family fitness nights. She has a 4-star fitness circuit in the back of their school, offering flag football, obstacle courses, and all types of activities for kids. Those students are active for 60 minutes every day because of the programs that Janine has created. Janine has a student, Anais Mercado, a 7th grade student who's here with her mom, Anna Layton. Janine, Anais, and Anna, please come up here for a moment. So let me just tell you what they've done. In addition to the work they do with Fuel Up to Play 60, Anais also is involved in an African American History Month program where students choose their hero, a hero that's important to them to be the subject of a wax museum sculpture. Anais chose her hero, Claressa Shields, and she came here today because I promised her the opportunity to meet Claressa. So please, yes, please stand up.
Thank you for coming.
Please, come in. Well, we want the school teacher and mom here too. Come in here. Come in here with your daughter. And let's put her in a place where she has her Gen Youth t-shirt on. So let everybody see her Gen Youth shirt. Slide over. Go ahead, slide over a little bit behind my chair. Yes, come right in here. Yeah, we're very proud of this program and of the teachers and students and the moms. And I told Anais, no punches here because we got to fight April 13th.
Is it here? Yes. Okay. Okay, so when you get done, she can bring us.
Okay, beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, I fulfilled my obligations. I just want to say briefly, 2 years ago when I met Claressa Shields, and we had the long discussions about her turning pro, we made a list not of fighters and not of fights. We made a list of dreams. And I promised Claressa that I would do everything within my power every waking minute to fulfill every one of those dreams. Now, that's a very easy thing to say when you have a once-in-a-lifetime athlete like Claressa who's doing the hard work. But we've had a wonderful journey together. We met with Christina and her team at the WBC convention a few years ago. I can't say enough about the WBC, Mauricio Suleiman, his support and his team's support. Jill Diamond's here today. We love all the efforts you folks have made in support of this. We know we wouldn't be here without you and your efforts as well. One of those dreams was to make this Undisputed World Championship and this biggest fight ever take place with the support of a network like Showtime, an arena like Boardwalk Hall, and these two incredible champions and fighters. So we're going to keep making dreams happen. And Mauricio, I know you're not here today, but I know you're watching. Thank you, my brother, for all your support. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
And now for the main event of the evening. This fight is going to be for all the belts, including the prestigious and iconic ring belt. And yeah, put it up here. This is really recognizing the true value and impact of this fight. This is a very prestigious and iconic belt, and the first time in women's boxing history that has been awarded to a fight. I'd like to introduce to you first Christina Hammer, who is from Germany. She has been a world champion for over 9 years, 2-division world champion. She's did 4 world title defenses at middleweight, and then she moved up to super middleweight and fought the best in super middleweight, and then moved back down to middleweight, and is currently the WBO and the WBC world champion in recess. From some of you that have seen her here, you see how comfortable she is with the press and charismatic. And it is because in Germany, she's a superstar. And while women's boxing is experiencing tremendous growth here in the United States, she has been a star in Europe and in Germany. And as a champion that she is traveling to the other side of the world to defend her titles and prove that she's the best. Christina?
Yeah, hello to everybody. I'm glad to be here in New York and make this fight happen. I'm looking forward for April 13, and I want to show the world who is Christina Hammer and Lady Hammer. And yeah, it's a big risk normally to come from Germany to US, but when you fight against the best against the best, then this fight will be huge for women's boxing, and it's a real game changer. And I want it, and I want to be the undisputed champion. And I'm the real WBC champion because I fight against Kelly Reese. It's earned, not given. Yeah. I'm looking forward, and I give everything to step out the ring like a winner. And I know Claressa Shields is, also a champion. We both undefeated champion, and I think the people and here, you want to see this fight, and we make it happen. I forgot one thing. I want to say thank you for all these people who make this fight happen, to bring us to this stage, like Mark Tuffet, Tom Loeffler, and Josh Seidman also, and my team from Anita Crew. I love you so much. You do also great work, and it's huge for me to be from Germany now here in New York, and April 13 in Atlantic City, and I'm looking forward, and I want to be the winner.
Thank you, Christina. Next, I'd like to introduce to you Claressa Shields. Claressa was born and raised in Flint, Michigan, one of the hardest places to grow up in the United States. She made the Olympic team when she was 17 years old, winning the only gold medal for the United States, men and women, in London. And she followed that up with a victory in 2016, being the only man and woman to win Olympic gold for the United States. She's a two-time Olympic gold medalist, the only boxer in U.S. history to have that accomplishment. In her first professional fight, she fought Franchon Cruz, who's the current WBC super middleweight world champion, one of the best female fighters in the world. After that, Claressa has followed up her professional career in a very impressive way, beating many world champions and top contenders in every one of her fights, stepping up. She is on her journey to be the GOAT, and she is making this by fighting the best possible champions she can, and she's fighting Christina Hammer next. I'd like to introduce Claressa to talk about this fight.
Hello. Hey, everybody. I'm happy all you guys came here today. This has been long overdue. I'm just happy she's showing up this time. This fight was scheduled for November 17th. She's been at my last fight and been in the crowd before, but now I'm happy she'll actually be inside the ring, and I can show her how much of a fake champion I really am. I think that everybody's, talking about like I'm only 8-0 and all that stuff, but I've traveled to many different countries to dethrone champions. I am the champion. If you ask me already, she said I was a fake WBC champion or whatever she said, but she's the one with the flower belt. The flower belt's been out of due for like 2 years. Like, we got the real belt right here. The flower belt is out. We get real belts now. So I don't know what she meant by that, but, I thought she would say a lot more mean stuff. She shocked me. Thanks. But at the end of the day, I'm coming to fight, no disrespect to her. I think she's a great champion. I mean, to be a champion for 8 years, 9 years, it shows that, she's a good fighter. But if you're a boxing analyst like myself, we look at BoxRec and we checking resumes around here. And her resume don't match mine. She's only fought a few tough girls, and her toughest fight was Kelly Reese. And, she talk about fighting in other countries. So I think that Kelly Reese maybe would have got a decision if she was over here in the U.S. and not in Germany. You know, so when you talk about stuff like that, like, you know, just know I'm not one of those girls who's going to come and lay down. I'm not afraid of her. You don't win belts by just talking. Like, in the United States, you got to fight. And I fought against the top fighters here in the U.S., and that's why I wanted this fight. When I first sat down and talked with Mark 2 years ago, I said, I want to fight Christina Hammer in my 7th fight. He told me, hey, we could try to make it happen. I'll do my best. And now, all of a sudden, it would have been my 7th fight, but she had some medical issues, and now we're here for April 13th, and I'm super excited. I want to thank all the fans who kept this fight alive. I want to thank all the haters who kept this fight alive. Listen, keep on harassing me on the internet, doing what y'all do. You know, she can keep posting her bikini pictures, keep liking them. You know what I'm saying? Hey, this is women's boxing. I'm not jealous. My butt's bigger than yours. I'm not jealous of you. See what I'm talking about? No, promise you I'm not. She's silly. That's what I'm talking about. Silly champion. Anyways, like I said, you know, just keep on liking them and doing what y'all do. And April 13th, you're going to see somebody fold and you're going to see somebody crying after the fight. And I promise you, it will not be me. Thank you very much. Make sure you guys tune in.
Thank you all. This is going to be a historic night of boxing. Those that are going to attend it live are going to save their ticket for the rest of their lives, and those that are going to watch it on Showtime are going to DVR it to keep it as a memory forever. Thank you all for coming. We're going to have the fighters. Oh, Brian Custer. Brian? Come up. Yep. I'd like to introduce to you Brian Custer to host the Showtime Championship Boxing Questions with the Fighters.
Thank you, Dimitri. I think. Ladies, everyone, let's talk about the fight. You know, Cecilia Brækhus, only female fighter, unify all 4 major world titles in any weight class, be undisputed. So on April 13th, without question, we get the battle of the best. And we finally get the answer to whether or not what's stronger. Is it the hammer? Is it the shield? And can the hammer destroy the shield? Or is the shield, can it stop the hammer? And we'll find that out April 13th. First, let's start with you. What do you think this fight does for female boxing?
I just think for women's boxing, it's just one of those super fights that we never had to happen. This is the Layla Ali versus Ann Wolfe. This is the Lucia Riker versus Christy Martin. We've never had that in women's boxing. So for this to be the first, this is great. And then we're from two different parts of the world, which makes the fight even better.
Christina, same question to you. What do you think this fight does for women's boxing?
I think this fight is a real deal and will be the game changer for women's boxing. It will inspire a lot of women's boxing, a lot of women and female athletes who want to live your dream and fight for that. And yeah, it's a good motivation for all.
You know, you've held, Christina, world title for over 8 years, going back to 2010. But after basically her 4th fight, and even before her 4th fight, she dubbed herself the GOAT, and that's the greatest woman of all time. What do you think about her naming herself that, considering the number of fights you've had and the number of fights she's had?
Yeah, you say it right. She called herself the best of all time, the greatest of all time. When the people call you the greatest of all time, then you're the true one. But that's, yeah, you can...
Ain't nobody called you nothing.
But I don't call you myself, I'm the greatest of all time.
Because you don't know how to fight that good, so you can't be the greatest woman of all time.
Yeah, of course.
I won 2 Olympic gold medals. What did you win?
So let me ask you this, Claressa.
Goofy.
If you win this fight,
Win, I win.
You've already called yourself the GOAT. What does that make you then?
Still the GOAT. Another one. It just, before Muhammad Ali he called himself the greatest of all time before anybody ever acknowledged him. As soon as he came from the Olympics and he won the NABF title, he won the NABF. It wasn't the WBC, IBF, WBA, the NABF. One of the belts that's considered a small belt to help you get to the bigger belts. He called himself the greatest of all time. Just because the world caught on to it after he already called himself, that don't mean nothing. Just like with me. I'm proving it. How am I here with 8 fights against this big old vicious German who's 24-0? How am I here if I'm not the greatest one of all time? How am I here? They're just putting me here. I'm not. They didn't bring me here to lose. I tell you that right now. They know because it's gonna be a fight, and it's gonna be some blood. It's gonna be somebody crying after the fight, and I'm telling you, it would not be me. Period.
So I guess
you're right. This was Muhammad Ali, not you, and you can't push it to the same level like Muhammad Ali. That's huge. And what are you? You Claressa Shields, right? But
so now y'all
that's
see
not the
she
same
talk
level.
English. She's faking when she be acting like she don't talk English. She talk English. I'm serious. She
So
talks real good English. Y'all just caught that.
let me ask you this, Christina, then. Because you've had a title for so long, if she's the GOAT after 4 fights, what does that make you then, considering you've had a title for almost 9 years?
Yeah, 9 years. It's a long time. I'm a long-time champion, and I push myself forward. I want this fight, and we make it happen on April 13. And we will show who's the best, and the people want to see what's going on this fight. And a lot of things happened in the past, and I want to show who's the undisputed champion. That will be me.
In the video you posted, you said her fight with Hannah Gabriel showed that she's beatable and that you're going to do the job better. In what way, on April 13th, will you show how she's beatable and you'll do the job better?
That is my secret. But yeah, she's beatable. The first round, she got coming forward, and Hannah Gabriel catch her with the uppercut. And yeah, I'm stronger and taller than Hannah Gabriel. I want to finish this job.
We just heard her, and that's the same thing she said in the past, here, Claressa. She said she's bigger, she's stronger, more experienced. That will be the difference. You say what?
She's not the tallest girl that I've ever fought. 1, and then 2, she's not stronger than me. The difference between me and her is I got knocked down and got back up and won a fight. She got knocked down by a girl and she didn't get back up, and they call it a disqualification. We're different. You know, I'm not whatever she's talking about. She's beatable. You know, I don't have to keep it a secret. She punches with her chin up in the air. She has a long jab. She do not know how to fight on the inside, and she don't have balance on her legs. Have fun working on that for 6 weeks.
And you have to work on your weight.
I'm 174 right now. You're bigger than me right now. Promise you.
So?
You're way bigger than me right now.
Okay.
You're huge. You just fought at 64.
You can look at
You
this.
didn't even make 60. You fought against a bum your last fight. She got knocked out her last 2 fights, and you got to come back and have a tune-up fight to fight her.
Okay, stop talking.
Stop
please,
it.
okay?
Stop
Christina,
it.
let me ask you this. Do you
Look at her.
believe this fight will go the distance?
Say something stupid.
Yeah, everything can happen in boxing, but you have to prepare for 10 rounds, tough rounds, and yeah, everything can happen. But I think KO is the best decision, but you never know. But I want to win.
Do you think this fight will go the distance, Claressa?
We'll see. You know, I feel like I can go in there and press her out and make her quit. That's my main thing. If I can make her quit, that'd be better than knocking her out, just to show her, just to kill her ego and show her that, you know, not only am I a good fighter, but I made you quit now. Like, not even did you not even get knocked out, but you quit. But I'm going to prepare for a 10-round fight. I'm going to prepare for, I wish we could go 12, but, you know, I'm going to prepare for a 10-round fight. And hopefully she brings her best self. I'll bring my best self. And at the end, there will be a winner.
We'll wrap it up with this. It's for both of you. Again, Cecilia Breaker is widely considered pound-for-pound best female fighter in the world. Does the winner of this fight change that?
If the winner of our fight changes,
Yes. Why, right now, people, when they say the best female fighter, pound for pound in the world right now, Cecilia Brækhus. Do you think the winner of this fight will be considered pound for pound best female fighter in the world?
that's a hard question to answer, because if you look at skill wise about fights, honestly, just being honest, I think myself and Christina Hammer both kind of fight better than Cecilia Brækhus, but because she has all 4 belts, she's considered the pound for pound woman's fighter. After this fight, maybe they'll make one of us the winner, number 1, or maybe they'll make us number 2. Those ratings are whatever people choose. But I've always felt and knew that I was the greatest woman of all time, and that I kind of fought better than her. But it's really about what you earned and everything like that. So maybe after 4 belts, they'll say, okay, now we consider her the pound for pound. But then again, they may say they want me and Cecilia Brækhus to fight at 54 to decide who's the best pound for pound. You really don't know until they get in the ring and fight each other, type of deal. So I don't know, but I consider myself the GOAT either way.
Christina, you think the winner of this fight should be considered pound for pound best female fighter in the world?
Yes, that will be great. We have both the great opportunity, and Cecilia Brækhus is also a great fighter and a long-time champion. And yeah, the winner takes it all.
Folks, April 13th, Showtime Boxing Special Edition, 9 p.m. Eastern from Atlantic City. And just to show you how big of a fight it is, don't forget, all access, 2 episodes leading up to the fight of Shields and Hammer. Don't miss it on Showtime Special Edition here on Showtime Boxing. With that, ladies, let's face off.
Are you facing up in front of you?
Right here.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll do in front so that no view is blocked. Can you hold this one? Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna. It has a wire. We'll have to stand in front. Dimitri, come over here with that. Come around with the ring. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you want to take this way? Go ahead.
I can grab all 3. We gotta have 2 on. But we want to see them.
Yeah. Well, you pose it so that they're all seen.
Kelly, put them the other way.
Yeah. Which way?
Get it back. No, go ahead. You're cool.
That's good. Okay, everybody look out at the TVs in the back for me first. TV in the back, please. Down in front here, please. Right here, please, everybody. One more time in the back, please. Out to the front. Very good. All right, let's get a face off, please.
However y'all want to do it.
That's good.
Can we have the 2 of you out of the back?
Yes. Yeah, if you can do it with the belts, try. Otherwise, we'll take them off.
You want to do 2 of them? One with
Do with the belts first, and then we'll do one without them. There we go.
Oh, Dimitri in the middle, you're fine.
Yeah, hold the ring belt up, Dimitri. Hold it up, above your head. There you go. Nice job. Okay, now go down a little bit, please, to the TV in the back. Okay, can we move over just a little bit this way? Step backwards. Yeah, there we go. Just come a little bit, do the same thing. Just move a little bit to the center. Move those braids. There we go. One more face off, please. Thank you so much.
be there. You show up. Okay.